Okay, we should be good to go.
Good morning, everyone. I call the meeting of the Sexual Offender Risk Review Board to order for February 8, 2024. It is available to the public on YouTube. Tracy, could I get a roll call this morning?
Yes. Mindy Ackerman.
Present.
Jordan Moore.
Present.
Mandy Ballinger. Sheriff Brown. Oh, he was on. He was on, so I need to, that takes us to not having a quorum for that one case. Jerry Bruce, James
Here.
Chapin. Oh, Jerry Bruce.
Here.
Oh, good. Okay, that brings us back up to having that quorum. Okay, good. James
Sorry
Chapin.
about that.
That's okay. James Chapin. Matthew Connolly.
Here.
Robbie Frederick.
Here.
Katie Gropper is in court. Jim Morton.
Here.
Frank Mullis.
Present.
Bert Reeves.
Here.
Lori Rozier.
Here.
Okay, so we do have a quorum for all of the cases.
Okay, I would like to read our mission statement here at SORB. Our purpose and mission is protecting Georgia's children and communities at large by identifying convicted sexual offenders that present the greatest risk of sexually reoffending. It is the board's responsibility to determine the likelihood that a sexual offender will engage in another crime against a victim who is a minor or a dangerous sexual offense. Assessments will be used by SORB to determine the risk level of the offenders. Offenders are classified as a level 1, level 2, or sexually dangerous predator. All members have received and had a copy sent to them to review the minutes from the meeting in January. Are there any questions and concerns about the minutes from last month? Okay, do I hear a motion to adopt the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Well, I don't believe we have reports from officers or any of the standing committees, so we'll move now to unfinished business. Any unfinished business? All right. Any new business? Okay, Tracy, your executive director report.
So just a reminder about the board retreat, which is April 10th through the 12th. And I've not received any emails from anyone regarding questions you might have from GBI regarding internet crimes, or from the feds regarding how they register the federal guys and how that whole system works. So if you have questions you'd like them to prepare for, if you could please send those to me so they'll be ready for that. The other thing I didn't have listed on the agenda, because I just found out last night that I did finally get the schedule for appropriations for FY25. And this will be the first year that SORB has been invited to be able to speak to the subcommittee for appropriations, which is going to be on February 13th. So I've been preparing for that for the last few weeks. I'm very excited about that and look forward to them being able to hear the needs that we have. Once I'll also be presenting everything that I present during the subcommittee to the board during the retreat, because it encompasses a lot of information and all the numbers over the many years. So I'll be able to give you all that information. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Tracy, what does Bert, we know what subcommittee you're going in front of? Is it public safety or human services?
It is human resources with Representative Dempsey.
Okay, great. I used to be on that. I was on that committee.
Okay.
Let's talk beforehand, and I would love to look at what you're gonna share and kind of give you my thoughts on all that. And I can certainly also have some conversations to benefit that as well with some of the members of that committee. So
That would be absolutely wonderful. And so I'll email you my PowerPoint and one of the sheets, Bert, that I'm gonna be sharing, but I'll be also putting a packet together for them and I'll send that to you as soon as I have that packet
it's
ready.
February. What time on February 13th?
It's at 2 o'clock at 506 at the room 506 Club. So
2
February
o'clock.
13th, 2 p.m., 506 Club. And I can also, I'll send you the information sheet that says the times and dates and all that.
5:06. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to be there. So.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That's great.
Thank you very much. That'll be very, very helpful. So yes, any feedback that you can provide me, Bert, that would be great.
Yeah, I can definitely help with that. So
Wonderful, wonderful. So the only other thing that I have is that our next board meeting is March 14th. That's it.
All right. We're going to move on now to the review of the cases. Everyone should have received and reviewed the cases. Tracy, could you explain to everyone about our leveling process?
Yeah, so SORB receives various lists from different agencies, including GBI, Department of Corrections, and Pardons and Parole, as well as regular notifications of newly convicted sex offenders. We also get court orders on those who are trying to be removed from the registry in order to get them classified. And all that information, which is virtually just names and identifiers, go into our system. Our investigators then pull, well, we have the criminal history and the out-of-state criminal history pulled by GBI. And then our investigators take that information, identify the offenses that are relevant to risk, which goes beyond just the sex offenses. They obtain all the documentation and complete their piece to the investigation, and then goes to the evaluators, who then review all the criminal documentation and summarize it in addition to prison behavior, community supervision behavior, and treatment behavior. And then they make a recommendation to the board, at which time we have this meeting, and the board has been reviewing throughout the entire month all the reports that have been uploaded, and then vote on those cases or have a discussion or questions about those cases. And level 2s and predators have the ability to request a reevaluation and submit additional documentation within a certain time frame, and or go for judicial review to argue their case regarding how we determine classification. And I think that gives a basic summary.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll move on now to the level 1 cases. Are there any recusals on the level 1 cases?
And before, I'm sorry, Frank, really quick, just want to let everybody know that Sheriff Brown is in attendance at this point. So we do now have 10 who are in attendance, which is sufficient for all cases.
Okay, that's great. I believe, Matthew, you have a recusal for one of the level 1 cases. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Matthew has recusal for number 6, which is 26099, and he's the only one we're aware of that has a recusal for level 1 cases.
All right. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the board about the level 1 cases?
Excuse me 1 second. Frank, this is Elizabeth. Could we just, for clarity on the record, just make sure that everybody has had an opportunity to review all the cases that were provided before today?
Okay. Has anyone not been able to review the cases prior to today? All right. Are there any questions, concerns, or comments?
I'm hesitant to, I normally try to do this in advance, but I would like, and maybe we could just pull it off and everyone can look at it and we can discuss it next time, but 26099 in level 1, I looked at it and I understand the grading on the, the coding and whatnot, but I read the fact pattern and it just doesn't feel like a level 1 case to me. It feels like at least a level 2. It deals with the Department of Corrections worker and the I don't know. Again, I know we have this debate often. I try to, when I read these, I put them in the context of each other, and the facts of that case seem a lot more significant than a lot of what we read in level 1 cases. And so I wish I had done this in advance, but I would love to pull that one off and see if we can discuss it, and at the next meeting discuss it so that everyone can have a chance to look at it.
Okay.
Is that okay, Frank?
Yeah,
Tracy?
I don't have a problem with it. Do we need to do a motion on that? Tracy?
Elizabeth, does there need to be a motion to pull it? Elizabeth? Frank, just go ahead and do a motion just in case, and then we're on the safe
Okay.
side.
All right. Do I hear a motion that we pull 26099 from the docket and everyone review it?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so 26099 has been pulled for review, and we'll discuss it next month.
And with that, I don't know. I don't recall was this person, did they plead guilty or were they tried? I would be interested. If we could get that information, I would be interested to know. Was it a guilty plea or was it a trial by jury? That would be something that I would like to know if we can.
Okay, yeah, definitely. And usually what I do when you guys pull a case just for further review is I do have my evaluators look at the case again and discuss the case and process the case. And so I'll have them look into that, Bert, regarding a plea or jury. And then also I'll be sending, if there's any new information from them, I'll let you all know, but I'll send that case to you all via email so you know which case you're reviewing specifically for conversation for the next board meeting as well.
Great. Thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry, can y'all repeat that number again?
26099.
I think it's third for the last in level 1. At least it was in my queue.
It's number 6. Well, oh, you're talking about on the database.
Okay, 26009.
No, 26099.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I don't see that one.
All right, so I will pull that and go through the process.
Okay. Are there any other questions, concerns, or comments about the level 1 cases?
So Bert,
Hey,
in reference to the case we just pulled, what are we specifically looking for with that case?
Well, I think, I don't know. Again, just one of those cases, I read it and it just feels different. It just feels more egregious than what we typically look at in level 1 cases. And so I think it's worthy of discussing. I understand how the coding and the scores work and all that, but sometimes I feel like there are facts that flip through that, and we classify people. I don't know. To me, the fact pattern is extremely important, and so I just think it would be. I would love to hear everybody else's perspective on it. If I am on an island on this, then I will. The will of the board, is fine, but I'd really like to hear everyone else's thoughts on it.
It's valid because when I read the case, the question I had was the polygrapher not asking about any additional assaults while he was in prison, and that stood out. So yeah, we'll look at it again, but certainly your concern is valid, Bert.
Okay, thank
Hey,
you.
this is Jerry. The
the document that we're looking at is 26099, but the document name and the link on the database say 26009, which may make it difficult for some people to find.
Correct. Yeah, I was
Ooh,
just
okay,
about to
there you
say
go.
that. Yeah, and I think that's why Lori didn't see it. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Thank
Okay,
you,
thank
Drew.
you for letting me know that. So we need to go in and double check that number. So it's good that we pull it anyway, given that discrepancy. So thank you for that.
I'm getting some background noise. I don't know where that's coming from. All right. So do I hear a motion now that we accept the level 1 cases?
With the exception of number 6,
Yes,
26099.
except yes.
So moved.
Jim Morton motions.
Second.
I motion.
Okay.
Okay, so can you
can I-
tell me, okay, I need to know, especially for the record, who would be first for the motion?
I motioned.
Okay,
This is
so
Jim.
Jerry for the first was it Jerry?
Oh.
Jim.
I-
Can you say who your name is when you tell me?
I think-
Because I can't see you.
I think Jerry requested that we pull it, but I'm just motioning that we, I think the question is for the
Okay, so-
acceptance of all those level 1. So I
Okay, so
motion.
Jim Morton is motioning
Morton.
first. And who did the second?
I know Bert did, and I think Jerry may have as well.
So Frank, which one?
Let's go with Bert.
Okay, thank you.
Good, because it wasn't really me.
Okay. Well, I only see your phone numbers, and that's what I was assuming. All right.
I'm always
Can I get a
Jerry. I'm always going to say my name first.
Okay. All right. So let's get a roll call, please, Tracy.
I'm sorry, I should have done this sooner. I'm renaming the phone numbers so we can see who's who. So we get, okay. So regarding accepting all the level 1 cases with the exception of 26099 as stated on the case list sheet, Mindy,
Aye.
Gerard,
Aye.
Sheriff Brown,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Matthew,
Aye.
Robbie,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
Lori.
Aye.
They all passed, and that is also with Matthew recusing. Well, that case was pulled, so it doesn't matter. So they all pass.
Okay. We have 17 level 2 cases. I have 3 recusals, 13394, 23666, and 26756. And I believe Matthew has 1 too, correct, Matthew? 25218.
I have 2.
Okay. What's the other one?
Shoot. I'm sorry. Let
Yeah,
me
we
go-
have 25218, but we don't have another one, so we'll need that number.
Okay. Hold on 1 second.
Is it the one in the reval?
Yeah, I apologize. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so not in the level 2s.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. My bad.
That's okay.
Okay. All right. Any questions and concerns or comments about the level 2 cases? All right. Do I hear a motion that we adopt the level 2 cases as presented to the board?
I motion that we adopt the level 2 cases.
Second.
And that was Robbie. Second.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Tracy, can I get a roll call on the level 2 cases?
Yes, Mindy,
My vote is aye.
Gerard,
Aye.
Sheriff Brown,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Matthew,
Aye.
Robbie,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
Lori.
Aye.
They all pass, even the cases that have the recusals.
Okay. We have, excuse me, we have 14 sexually dangerous predator cases. I have 2 recusals, 5150 and 25564. Are there any other recusals that we do not know of? Okay, any questions, comments, or concerns about the sexually dangerous predator cases? Okay, can I get a motion that we adopt the sexually dangerous predator cases?
I move to accept the cases.
That was
I
Robbie,
second.
and Lori seconded. Thank you. Okay, can I get a roll call on the sexually dangerous predator cases, Tracy?
Yes, Mindy, any questions or concerns by any of the sexually dangerous predator cases?
No, and my vote is aye.
Gerard, any questions or concerns by any of the SDPs?
No questions. My vote is aye.
Sheriff Brown, any questions or concerns by any of the SDPs?
No questions. My vote is aye.
Jerry, any questions or concerns by any of the SDPs?
No, my vote is aye.
Matthew, any questions or concerns by any of the SDPs?
No, my vote is aye.
Robbie, any questions or concerns by any of the SDPs?
No questions. Aye.
Jim, any questions or concerns by any of the SDPs?
No questions. Aye.
Frank, any questions or concerns by any of the SDPs?
No, and my vote is aye.
Bert, any questions or concerns by any of the SDPs?
No, my vote is aye.
Lori, any questions or concerns by any of the SDPs?
No, my vote is aye.
They pass even with Frank's recusals.
Okay, and now we have 11 reval cases. Matthew and I have recusals on 4140, and I believe Robbie has one on 30096. Is that correct, Robbie?
Yes, sir.
Any other recusals that we do not know of? Okay, are there any questions or concerns or comments about the level or the re-level cases? Okay, let's do a motion for them to be presented.
So moved.
Sheriff Brown?
Second.
Thank you.
And Tracy, could I get a roll call?
Yes, Mindy, do you have any questions or concerns by any of the re-eval cases?
No, my vote is aye.
Gerard, any questions or concerns by any of the re-eval cases?
No questions on the reevals, and my vote is also aye.
Sheriff Brown, any questions or concerns by any of the re-eval cases?
No questions, no concerns. My vote is aye.
Jerry, any questions or concerns by any of the re-eval cases?
No, my vote is aye.
Matthew, any questions or concerns by any of the re-eval cases?
No, my vote is aye.
Robbie, any questions or concerns by any of the re-eval cases?
No questions. Aye.
Jim, any questions or concerns by any of the re-eval cases?
No, my vote is aye.
Frank, any questions or concerns by any of the re-eval cases?
No, and my vote is aye.
Bert, any questions or concerns by any of the re-eval cases?
No, my vote is aye.
Lori, any questions or concerns by any of the re-eval cases?
No, my vote is aye.
They all pass, including the cases with recusals.
Okay, again, I want to thank the investigators and the evaluators for their hard work. That's 61 cases that were classified this past month. And again, thank you, board members, for your hard work and going through those cases every month. Tracy, anything else?
I do. I just want to comment to kind of give you guys an idea about the work that's been done. So with 14 sexually dangerous predator cases being done, something that I think is really important, because that's a lot of cases that have been completed. All those cases, well, I shouldn't say all those cases. The majority of those cases have 2+ either charges or convictions separate of one another for sex offenses, in addition to violent offenses. So that's a lot of documentation that the evaluators have to really sort through and come to those conclusions. I thought it was very interesting too, because I track cases, we identify cases that just have one conviction for a sex offense and no other material has to be collected from the investigation side in our process of trying to be efficient. And then I have certain evaluators that work on those specific kind of cases. And I was able to track that this month, and 3 cases where they were only arrested for one sex offense that we were aware of ended up being predators. So it's a very interesting, and I'm hoping to keep able to keep track of that with the one offense identified cases that turn out to be predators, because a case may initially present as something not as high risk and actually end up being a very dangerous individual. So I thought that was really interesting as new information for me that I was able to kind of keep track of. The other thing is with the reevaluations, again, 11 is a lot to be done. And in some cases, they're pretty standard where the offender just sends in a request to be reevaluated. So the evaluator is just really kind of reviewing and making sure all the information is correct. But we had, if you look at your case list, if it says +R, what that means is that it's been 10 years since they were reviewed before. So, the law gives them the ability, and previously our policy gave them the ability that they had been classified 10 years ago, they can request a reevaluation again after that 10 years. So that's 10 years worth of documentation that is being reviewed on top of reviewing the case from 10 years ago, which many times those cases, are years ago, SORB did not have access to the national criminal history. We only had access to the Georgia criminal history. So with those 10-year plus reviews, we're now able to pull all the out-of-state information we didn't have before. And many times we find that's happened. We have had many cases where the individual has committed new types of offenses since that 10 years where they're asking for a reevaluation. And so you'll see a lot of them haven't changed in classification over those 10 years. Individuals who didn't change their classification, they remained at the classification they were 10 years ago, because usually 10 years is representative of at least potentially some reduction of risk, says to you that they've continued to engage in problematic behavior since they were leveled 10 years ago. But just kind of showed, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 cases that Kirsten did of these 10-year reevaluations. That is a significant amount of time and paperwork that is being reviewed. And so I just want to kind of point out that this month was a really productive month, even if it shows 61 cases, just because the crazy amount of documentation that would have had to have been reviewed, which they always do, but this is just one of those months that I can really point that out. So they always do really hard work and looking through all that. And I appreciate y'all for all the reading you do, because not only does that mean they're putting more information into the report, you all are reading more information. So again, you guys reading 61 cases with that amount of information is a lot of work. And so I appreciate it, and all the thought that y'all put into the cases and the questions you have, when something comes up that creates that question, because that helps us, like Bert, you bringing up that case is really helpful for us to pull that and look at it, because it makes us have to reconsider and look at different things and look at different factors associated with risk. And are there things that we need to reconsider, or are there things that we need better education on, or, on all sides? So I appreciate that, because we really need to be talking.
I think it might be helpful, honestly, annually at the retreat, every year, I think it's helpful for us to be debriefed again on the coding, level 1, level 2, SDP. I think it's very helpful to be reminded, because the lines get blurry, and I've gotten to the point where the level 1 cases are more, I find more variety in the level 1 cases than the others. And I think it's helpful for us to annually be reminded of kind of how we're supposed to be looking at these. I feel like a lot of level 1s are internet type behavior, non-contact behavior. And then when I see contact behavior, it feels like an outlier. And maybe that's not necessarily the right conclusion to come to, but I think it would help me to be reminded of why behavior that involves physical contact is sometimes appropriate as a level 1. And so I think that if we could add into our retreat this year another debriefing on that, I just find that to be really helpful. And honestly, I think that we all could use an annual refresher on that, to help us kind of divide, the silos here. So
I appreciate that, and I totally agree with you. And that's a struggle that we all have, and the evaluators have too, because when you have only 3 levels, you're looking at substantial groups of people within those levels that are very, very varied. So you can have a low level 1 or a high level 1 that's potentially borderline to a level 2. The same with the level 2s and predators even, but you're right. The level 1s, we have a much bigger pool, which again, my hope and my goal in the future is creating 5 levels instead of the only 3. So I think that just brings attention to the fact that I agree with you, Bert, that it is really difficult. So I think that's a great idea. And I think that'll be a great conversation. And also, Bert, if you can think of some questions for Elizabeth Bigham, who's coming from GBI, who works all those internet cases,
right,
we'd like to provide some other insight into that as well. She's been doing it for a while, and she's got a wealth of knowledge about that.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think that's going to be very interesting. So
Yeah.
And helpful because so many of these cases are the online, the posing as a minor and all that. And I think that's really, really helpful.
Yeah, and an interesting kind of piece, a tidbit, because I track whenever we do receive information from the clerk of courts where we have leveled someone and then they've sexually reoffended. I'm seeing a lot. It seems like, and of course, I don't get all the information because only the ones that send it to us do I know, but it seems like a high percentage are reoffending by offending online, like having a hands-on and then reoffending online because it's a little more, a lot more accessible and easier for them. So the trend is kind of interesting. And so I'm hoping Elizabeth may be able to give us some insight into that as well. So yeah, I think we'll have some really good conversations. So I appreciate that. But that was all I had.
Tracy, I wanted to say one thing. I was really struck with this is Jim Morton. There was there's an SPD that was child sex oriented material only, but he had attempted to kidnap even though he wasn't charged. And if that had not been noticed by the evaluator, I'm not sure we would have caught that.
I think that's a
and
good
what's
point.
real helpful to me are the secondary risk factors toward the bottom of the reports, such as hypersexuality. There are things that don't show up on the static. And so I always, in fact, I start there a lot of times to see where the case is headed, because I agree with you. I think that was Mr. Bruce talking, that the lines get blurry when you got that many level 2s and then you read the SPDs. There's not a real clear line, but I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so also kind of to your point, Jim, we know that information, that additional information where he wasn't charged due to really, really good law enforcement work, which, I think between the sheriff's departments and the police departments, I get contacted, and this isn't in this case, but I'll have sheriff's departments contact me to let me know that there's been an investigation or some new information to make sure that we have that and we don't miss that information, which I really appreciate. And then law enforcement, the notes that they take and the investigations that they do going above and beyond. So this could have been a case where, they chose not to even introduce that information and we wouldn't have had it. So it is imperative. So, our law enforcement, I'm really grateful for those who do really, really good note taking and, keeping really good documentation. And then also for those counties that keep the information, because we have some really old cases where they have new cases, but really old cases too. And some places purge the older information. So the counties that don't purge that information, it's a substantial help in helping us make determination, uphold that in court. So we're Georgia does a really, really good job in a lot of areas. So I'm glad you pointed that out, Jim. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns before we adjourn? All right. Do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Second.
Who
All
is
right.
first? Wait, who is first?
And
So So Caitlin knows who was first. I couldn't tell. Bert was second. Who motioned first?
I did.
Oh, Sheriff Brown. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Tracy, Gerard and I would like to speak to you after the meeting today, please.
Okay, sounds good. And so are you ending the meeting? Is it ended? It's
Yeah, I think we got it.
Okay.
And so we'll see everybody in March.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I was gonna tell Bert I was gonna get him the information, but he'll know. So thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm not leaving because like Frank and Gerard, I would also like to talk to Tracy and they might as well be part of that discussion.
I'm
Okay.
nervous. Y'all want to talk to me? Stop.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'd be nervous too.
Hey Tracy, did you end the YouTube thing?
Oh crap, no. I ended the recording. Let's see.
Yeah, you just